Hi, I'm Jay Rogers for the Acura Concierge Experience. In this segment, we will discuss the two important client expectations that are designed to help the client feel special, understood, and valued. Here are the expectations for the sales experience. 1, a personalized vehicle technology education for each client. 2, an informative and personal delivery experience. Once your client has finished in the financial service process, there's still some very important work to be done. Recent research around client engagement shows clearly that the vehicle delivery process is another critical touch point that impacts the client's perception of their buying experience. Providing a perfect delivery experience requires considerable pre-planning and coordination with the concierge team. You're contending with two conflicting issues. First, clients are typically pressed for time, and second, it takes a fair amount of time, about an hour, to provide a thorough and personalized technology orientation. Let's turn to one of our retail experts, Jeff Tabobin. Jeff, how important is the delivery process to a client?
You know, Jay, in terms of thinking about the entire sales or buying experience, the delivery point is that last touch point. It's the opportunity to really kind of make the experience and the product, everything come to life for the client. So it's a really critical place for us to continue to build relationship and show that client that we really are invested in that relationship.
What does the ideal delivery process look like? Can you give us an overview of what's entailed?
You know, you mentioned that we're pressed for time quite often with our clients. They've been here for several hours, they've gone through the process. I'm sure that it's gone great to this point, but now I just want to drive my new car.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that we have to think about are what are the critical components that we could talk to them about that gets them on their way. You also mentioned trying to figure out how we get them back in and bring them back for another delivery process. I think the thing that we should concentrate on the most in terms of making that delivery great is going over the technology pieces that really count for them, the 2 or 3 features they're going to use a lot.
Right.
And then Acura prescribes following kind of an I do, we do, you do pattern in terms of making the delivery. So in other words, if we're going to pair a Bluetooth phone, I will actually do that activity and show you how it works. Then we'll go ahead and pull the phone out of the system. Then we'll do it together. I, as a sales consultant, will do some of the button pushing and you'll do some of the rest. And then finally, we'll have you set the phone up on your own.
Absolutely.
So again, that process seems to resonate very well with our clients.
Which members of the concierge team would play a role in completing this delivery process?
You know, Jay, really it's the whole dealership. It's almost like a ballet. Yeah. So your sales managers have to make sure that the vehicle is gone through the PDI process, and that requires some conversation with the service department. And then there's the detail department that has to get the vehicle ready for delivery, and your financial services manager has to make sure that they're available to take care of that client when they're in. So it really requires a lot of communication amongst a lot of different departments.
Jeff, what's the most common barrier you would experience in the perfect delivery?
You know, I just think back to my days in retail, and one phrase continuously pops up: overpromise and underdeliver. And so I think about the times when I say, you know what, we'll have it ready at 2 o'clock, and we just can't meet those time constraints. So I think the barrier we have is being realistic about the time that we're going to be delivering that vehicle and the amount of effort and energy that goes into that, and setting that expectation with the client.
Of recent, it seems like customers want to be contacted at home, that in-home follow-up. How do you feel about that?
You know, I think it's a great idea because, as I mentioned earlier, that time constraint, that people want to get out and drive the new car, and again, they just think about those 1 or 2 items. Maybe it's the Bluetooth phone, or understanding how to work the navigation, or maybe it's the DVD because I've got screaming kids in the back seat. So I think it's critical that we go back and recontact the client, and maybe even take some initiative as a sales consultant, go to the client's home or office, spend another 20 or 30 minutes with them, making sure they understand all the aspects of the technology. In fact, we know in some of our dealerships, and actually with Acura's corporate call center, that call in that we get from the clients most often is about technology they don't understand.
Right.
So I think we have to take it upon ourselves at the dealership to really provide that concierge level of service and get back out to our clients and make sure they understand the operational features of their vehicle.
Fantastic. And if our viewers take just one thing out of what we've talked about here, what would you want it to be?
You know, as it relates to the delivery experience, I think there's one thing to think about: special, understood, and valued. How can I make this experience work for my client so that those types of emotions come up when they think about taking delivery of that new Acura? So that may mean going and visiting them at their home or their office to go over the technology that they didn't get a chance to work with at the dealership during the time of physical delivery. And I think that's the most important thing we've got to concentrate on in order to build those relationships.
Sounds great to me. Jeff, thank you so much for the insights. Remember, our job as a professional Acura sales consultant is to make the purchase experience enjoyable and informative so that the client feels special, understood, and most importantly, valued.